All right, welcome back to Video Review. Aaron Cavanill here with Zach Collier again. Today we're looking at the Lochsa at high water. Greg Babikoff, is that how you pronounce his name?
Yep, Greg Babikoff.
Yeah. Oh, wow, look, that looks really big out there with that rack going by. Jesus.
Yeah.
That's fun bouncing around the trees there. I mean, I think we've all been there before. It's like high water, it's awkward you pull into eddies and being in a good spot where you can pull out easily and still not, ooh, what's going on here?
Yeah, there aren't many eddies. This is the Lochsa, pretty high water, like really high water. Greg called it extreme high water. And it's sort of what I call bank to bank. The water is just flushing down near the high water line. And there are rarely even eddies like this. And somebody swam in that small blue cat in the eddy with him is giving Greg the swimmer so Greg can help take the swimmer down. That's how it's explained to me right now. So right now they're basically trying to get because there's a small cataract and the extra weight might be pretty brutal, where Greg's in like a 12 or 13 foot cat, so he can handle the extra weight of the swimmer. And
yeah. Well, there's a lot of people coming down.
Yeah,
it seems pretty busy. There's just like boat after boat. What, man, they just keep coming. Is this all one huge group? Holy smokes!
It's the Memorial Day weekend where everybody just goes to Lochsa.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think too, people plan to run the Lochsa no matter what Memorial Day weekend. So they're going hell or high water. And I think that gets people in trouble sometimes. If you've been planning on doing this for 6 months, you show up, it's raging, and people go on the river that maybe shouldn't in high conditions like this.
I feel like most bad stories are high water stories. The low water bad story is, oh, it took us forever, it totally sucked because we were stuck on rocks the whole time. The high water bad stories are, oh, we lost someone, we lost a boat, we got stuck in the trees. And I mean, I feel like high water is definitely in the more dangerous spot. And I feel like, you drive along the road, and when they're looking down from the road, the features do not look nearly as big when you're looking down for these roadside turns. You're like, oh, the road's right next to it, it's not a big deal, we can just pull out wherever. It's and I feel like that's where you get in trouble. When you get down, you're like, holy cow, these hydraulics are way bigger than they look from the road.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Greg probably is with a group, right?
Yeah.
He probably came with 4 or 5. Hopefully he's with some group of boaters, but they could be miles down at this point. If he has 4 friends, there probably aren't many eddies that the 4 friends can just pull out and wait. Hopefully they did wait somehow. But as far as he knows, his friends are way downstream, and now he's boating with either by himself or with people he's just sort of going to run into.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a raptor with him. This is going to be interesting.
So this is the guy that swam.
Yeah, he gets to ride on top of the thwart in the back there and hold on. Yeah, there you go. That thwart's actually got nice for. Yeah, that looks actually pretty comfortable now.
Yeah, I mean that thwart. A lot of cat boaters put that thwart in the back to help with the reflip, right? Yeah. If you have a thwart, and then the boat instead of being completely upside down, it's kind of on its side. So it's something a lot of big time boaters will do in the back of the boat. And you're right, it does look like it makes a nice seat.
So I think the biggest thing is that maybe these two. Wow, that is a tiny cat. That blue cat. But I feel like the biggest thing with high water people get in trouble is right here, is pulling out the eddies. And like you look at that blue cat, if they're supposed to be running together, too far away already.
He should have already left.
Yeah, the blue cat should be like right behind him, pulling out like really next to him, because like he's gone downstream. And the blue cat's going to be like hundreds of yards. There's no way, if they have a problem, the blue cat can catch him and help out at high water. Like just way too far back.
I mean, blue cat needs to be following that close for his own safety.
For both,
yeah, for both for sure. But this is an interesting one. I know Greg pretty well. I boat with him a lot. I have a lot of respect for his abilities, and we may nitpick things here or there in the video where like Greg would do the same if you watch a video of us. I have a lot of respect for Greg's abilities. He's somebody who kind of knows. I'm sure he knows the Lochsa. He's at this point kind of solo boating.
Well,
he has no safety. His group's not. I don't see any boats in sight. He's super exposed right now, and it's not something I think is a good idea. But it's the situation he's in. I feel okay with it a little bit because I respect Greg's abilities. Solo boater behind him in a tiny cat, I don't know anything about his boating abilities, but I'm assuming because he's in a tiny cat, he's actually at a major risk of having a problem.
Yeah. And exactly, I would say too is like we're talking about ways that we can tighten the screws a little bit and have a
Yep.
little higher level of safety than he has right now.
Yep.
They're dressed, and they're doing so many things well. They're dressed appropriately. I mean, we can go on
Yep.
and on about all the things they're doing well, and they're doing a lot well. And he's clearly a good boater. But, like having said that, like he does seem very exposed out by himself. He hasn't
Yep.
been looking back really at all.
Mhm.
And so I'm assuming, well, there's probably no one to look back at because the other guy's way behind there. So he's by himself coming down here, which is a problem always. And I'm guessing what happened though is the paddle boat. The guy was in a paddle boat probably flipped, and the other boats were chasing the paddle boat and the other people, and this guy got eddied out, and so they're taking the guy who got eddied out, and they had to split their group up. That that's the only way to do that. You can't leave the guy in the eddy by himself on the far side
Yep.
of the river. You don't get to select the raft, and the other people go downstream. So,
Yep.
yeah.
And then ideally that blue boat, like we talked about, who knows? That blue boat could just be like, "Hey, go by yourself. I'm waiting for my friends." But I'm hoping the blue boat's close behind to provide some safety for Greg, and also so he has. Who knows what's happening to blue boat though? By Greg not looking back, it's making me assume blue boat's not back there. Like he's solo boating right now.
And yeah, I just like to go back to pulling out the eddy and just like at high water, particularly when it's a big group too. If you've got like 5 boats in your group, it's really hard to have them pull out and keep that good boat spacing as you come out of the eddy. And that's the key part is pulling out really tight and then adjusting. And then once you're out here, like how do you maintain that boat spacing? Well, you got to be able to slow down and drag eddy, like kind of drag along the eddy fence a little bit to slow down to let that boat behind you catch up, or go out in the current a little more, push downstream. You're always looking over your shoulder, always adjusting your spacing. It's interesting too. Is is he pulling over to let the guy off? No, he's kind of doing that right now. He's kind of just like cruising along the eddy fence here, slowing down a little bit. They look like they're just trying to get him to shore.
Looking for, there's again, it's bank to bank right now. There's no eddies, so it's not exactly easy to drop off a swimmer. There's a pink flamingo up there. Oh man! But this guy, he probably needs to get off. There we go. He needs to get off the boat and like Greg just boat on his own, and he needs to get off quickly because Greg's about to get blown out of the eddy.
Well, and this is where people get hurt right here, right? Getting out of the boats, walking ashore. This is the sketchiest part. Like, you can tell. Yep. All right, away they go.
Yeah, so, to go back before they even got close to shore, there should have been conversation.
Oh, he's still holding on. Close, dude, he's still holding on to the boat. He's in. Look, he's underneath in front still. What? What just happened? I thought he was swimming to shore.
No, he swam back to the boat because he wasn't. There's too much current next to the shore. But here, Greg right now is saying, "Hey, dude, let go and get on shore. I'm done with you." Like now, this guy's an anchor for the cat. Hopefully, Greg is like, "Dude, right now, let go. I'm getting you." There we go.
Yeah. There we go. Tough... Yeah. That was the best way to get rid of him. Point the nose towards shore. He's out now. And the other thing I'll say is it's hard rowing a cat with someone on the back of your boat. It really changes the way it runs. And Greg did a nice job of running down through there with it.
And he waited for him. He's kind of watching him, making sure he's getting up on shore. He doesn't accidentally fall back in.
And we did not see the blue boat at all, did we? So maybe that blue boat was part of a different group or something else going on. But we didn't. Have we seen the blue boat at all during this?
I haven't. Now I'm wondering why kayaks are on shore. Are they putting in here, or was there a kayak mishap? Like, why are there empty kayaks on shore?
Well, they're probably bumming food or beers or something like that. Kayakers.
Oh, wait. Do you see that? There's a kayak up there. There's a kayak without a person in it.
Oh, really?
Yep. So Greg now sees the pink flamingo just drove by.
Greg's just rescuing people. That's all he does. Is he's just hanging out here rescuing.
Yeah, there's no boats in sight. He has no safety for himself, but he decides to go help get this kayak. And it looks like his plan is to get it, and he probably even has it now. I bet he has it right now. You can't tell there's some.
He's like pushing it to shore. Yeah.
He's like, so he's slowly just dragging it to shore. Man, he went from one rescue to the next.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is now.
So one of the other things, Zach, let's talk about here is like assuming that there was a raft that flipped that was in the group. One of the key things is being able to clean up a mess quickly on high water, and you gotta work with a team that you know really well. And just how spread out they are is like I'd say things didn't work out the way they wanted to work Ideally, you don't get
Yeah,
that split up from your group.
and there's the kayak he dropped off. See that kayak in the eddy? He just dropped it off, and hopefully those kayaks coming down can help, finish that off.
Yeah.
But Greg was certainly with the group of cat boaters or boaters. Somebody swam, whether it was from a raft or maybe he flipped a cat boat. The cat boat's way downstream, but they have now lost trip integrity.
So would
Whatever
you
his trip
rather
is.
have Greg by himself and like the other 4 rafts chasing, let's say the other 3 cataracts chasing the raft, or would you rather have someone stay with Greg in general and have 2
Stay with Greg.
pods?
You know what? That
In
cat,
general,
in my mind,
yeah.
that cat is gone. Like everybody's like those. Greg is helping the swimmer, and the rest of the group waits for Greg so they can keep trip integrity. And if they get the cat, awesome. Oh, here's Lochsa Falls.
See what happens here.
Oh man.
You know, I think this is the thing on these big, when you have all these people on the river like this too, everyone's like, oh, someone else can help them out, and everyone just assumes there's people around to help. And I
Yep.
think that's a real dangerous thing when you have these big festival weekends.
Yep.
And then, but the thing is, when you're moving downstream and you're between groups, it's not like you're going to catch up to a group. You know, if like he were to flip back there when he's by himself, and he's in front and behind, you're just going to float down between groups. So it's not like
Your group has to wait for you. I feel
Yeah.
strongly like you need to keep group integrity. And you see people around and you're making assumptions, but they might. Did you see that 2 paddle boats full of paddlers?
No.
Holy! I'm gonna go back a sec. Let's see. He looked back. Let's ahead of here. So like as he looked back for a second, I think it was below Lochsa Falls. There was 2 like 7 loads of paddlers coming down.
Wow.
Imagine if one of those flipped.
Yeah.
There's Greg had such a hard time rescuing one swimmer. Imagine right there. Those 2 rafts full
Yeah,
of
and they
paddlers.
don't have any safety in front of them. That's probably.
No,
Do you think that's probably commercial? Is sort of the way it looks.
it looks like it. There's just the boats are the same color. There's tons of people in them, but man, one of those boats flips. I mean, rescuing that many swimmers in this kind of conditions is tough.
Yeah, I agree.
There it is right there. It doesn't look commercial actually. It's hard to,
Sure.
I just saw their heads popping out, but they had different color helmets. So hopefully this guy, it kind of looks like this guy's with Greg right here. I mean, I can't tell for sure, but they kind of are slowing down.
And maybe that's what they did. They're like, we'll meet back at Lochsa Falls because there's nothing big between where we got the swimmer and down there. It was all pretty small down
Yeah.
to Lochsa Falls. Yeah,
Yeah.
we got a stern mount on there.
Yeah, look at it. It's up in the bank though, man.
Yeah, man.
This is when you swim. Like you swim, you can't swim to river left pretty much because it's all trees. River right, luckily there's a road and it's mostly just rock from the road. But river left isn't much of an option because you're just swimming in the trees.
Yeah, and when they have the road on the side, typically there's not eddies on that side though. When it's all like rock.
Yeah, man, look at.
So okay, let's talk a little about his spacing now. Like he's not with that group most likely, the paddle, but this is one of the things we see is the paddle boats are definitely taking off from him because they're so much heavier and they're cruising, and he's not going to be able to. He wouldn't be able to keep up with them anyway. So, is he with that other orange cat now? The 2 of them are together.
I'm not sure, but the one thing I think about is Greg is a very good boater. Not everybody out there on the river today have the abilities of Greg. So I think there's a lot of boaters right now. There's a blue boat kind of by themselves. Is that the small boat? Oh, that's a small boat. That's our blue boat.
Oh,
Ooh.
wow.
Jeez.
Well, that
I mean,
came
that
out of
was.
nowhere. I think then that's the classic with high water. Is like that was a nothing spot. That wasn't like a big named rapper or something. All of a sudden he's over.
Yeah. Man, let's
Wow.
actually I want to count the time on this. Let's go back to the flip just so we can see. I know Greg, when I boat with him, he generally flips. He'll go in a here we go. So we're at 13:32 on the YouTube thing. Greg has a lot of practice pre-flipping. I'm sure he gets this done within 40 seconds. It's been 20 seconds now. I said 13:32, so we're at 20 seconds now. I think the standard for a good class 4 or 5 boaters is 45 seconds. Let's see what he does. 28 seconds. And then back in the seat. So it's the reflip and then back in the seat in 45 seconds is the standard. So
is the standard. That's the standard of
That
excellence.
that's what a lot. He's back in the state now, so it's 14, 13, third, third. It's 40 seconds. So when I talk to people who are really good Class 5 boaters, they're just like, their goal is to, once a flip happens, be back in your seat in 45 seconds, and hopefully faster. But that was impressive.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, nice recovery.
But like you were saying, Aaron, on big water like this, that thing can happen anywhere.
Yeah, that's and that's why when he was running by himself, that was kind of a little bit like the exposure there was pretty big. Even if you're like, oh, it's not in the big rapids. It's like, yeah, man. I mean, how many times have we seen that at high water where it's like some little rapid and yeah, where'd you flip? I don't know the name of it. It's this wave down, blah blah blah. Below such and such.
You made it through Lochsa Falls fine, and then flipped in just some random wave that never had a name.
And now there's a bunch of cats around, so maybe this is his cat group or.
Yeah. But what I think about is if he had swam with that passenger earlier, if he'd flipped in, that would be a bigger deal.
Okay.
Greg's somebody who can quickly reflip. He's used to flipping, but with that passenger, then he has to reflip and then figure out that passenger he had earlier.
And Zach, one of the big things I think talking about too is if you have more people on your boat, you've really got to have them trained about what to do when the boat flips. Like different people want to do. I mean, some people want to have everyone climb up on top of the upside down boat, and in general, I'm not a fan of that on a river like this. I'm a fan of the guy gets on top, flips it back over, and then everyone starts climbing back in. But to take the time to get everyone on top of it when the boat's upside down, you're just going to keep hauling downstream, and you're needing to be rescued, kind of a victim. So in general, I think like what Craig's approach is the preferred approach is like, hey, in that 45 seconds, you got that boat back over, you get back in it, and you start pulling everyone back in. And then you can like eddy out easier. You can just do everything easier. Oh, we started over again.
We're starting with it just ended. I moved it back to the beginning just for background talk. So I just want to kind of recap what we talked about a little bit. Just things we kind of saw from this video. And I think the big thing is when the river is this high and it's bank to bank, there are big inherent extra dangers. And we feel like the experience you and I have, I think we both agree that like trip integrity is incredibly important. When something goes wrong, and we've both been a part of things that go wrong in big water, we've seen them handled poorly and well, and the poorly gets really scary quick. And so I think that I feel strongly that really focusing on trip integrity here is a big deal, and realizing this is a serious river. This isn't playtime right now. This long swims are it looks fun and everything, but at this level, a long swim is really dangerous, and you really can't swim the river left because there's so much wood on the bank. What do you think as a recap?
Yeah, I think everything you said is great, Zach. And I think that trip integrity, what that means is having a really good pre-trip meeting with the group of people you're paddling with and reviewing and talking about key spots, talking about recovery spots, talk about spacing, talk about order, and just go through everything in detail and expectations. And in general, not a good time to be running with people you don't know.
Yep. I agree.
You can always, it's always there to be run another day. The river will be high again. There's other opportunities. If you don't know it, you're not feeling comfortable with it. Just wait till another day. Go run shuttle. Watch it. Go down and watch them at Lochsa Falls. It's like take video. But I think it's really key to be conservative on high water days.
And just one last thing I want to point out. I listened to the audio here before we did this, and Greg is talking to the guy who swam. He's like, hey, just take your time, no rush. Like that's, I worry about Greg having safety, but also like the guy who swam's probably out of breath, he's cold. And Greg's actually coaching the guy right now. And hopefully he's saying, I heard that part. Hopefully now he's also saying, get on my boat. Here's how I want you to hold on. He's probably now giving him some information about what happens if you flip. I didn't hear that part of the video, but I think that like how this amount of time he's taking his time, he's being patient is really smart on Greg's part. Instead of just like, hey, let's rush and get going, like taking a few minutes to kind of get stable.
Yeah. And I think to recap, we would love to have seen it feel like Greg had good safety with him. And in general, the person carrying the extra paddler, it's probably best that they're not the lead boat. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, in general, that seems like not the best option, but sometimes that's your best option. He's got the bigger boat.
It's kind of what they're left with. I think little tiny blue boat, it's marginal whether that's the best guy to go for.
Yeah, exactly. I think that this may have been their best option in this case. It's more just, something to consider. It's like, hey, just because that's what happened here doesn't mean that's the best option normally.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Good point.
And I think some people get a little ego, like, oh, I'm the badass guy, so I should take that person down in my boat, and this and this. And you're like, yeah, I do, and like, and then that's usually the badass guy is the one who like ends up flipping, and then you're like, oh, Craig, we didn't expect that person to flip.
And Aaron, if this was you and me, we would have a discussion. I think we quickly would just go. We'd be like, who wants to go first and who wants to take the paddler, right? And either one of us would be fine doing either, right? But like we'd be like, one of us is going first as downstream safety, and the other one's going to go follow right behind with that paddler, and that's a discussion you and I would have in the same situation.
Definitely, yeah. Definitely.
And I would probably be like, I don't know, do I want to be in the tiny boat in the lead? Or in the big, that's a tough one. That tiny boat in the lead scares me a little bit because I would be personally exposed in a tiny boat. I mean, these waves could hammer a tiny boat.
Yeah, but I think that tiny boat would be pretty easy to flip back over too. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, and like as I said, I don't think there's like right answers. There's definitely some wrong answers to stuff, but in general, it's about asking the right questions and having the right conversations. And you'll come to a good decision if you're thinking about all these variables and just having a conversation about them and having a plan, based upon those, and not doing something where you're like, oh, we've got the 2 people in the little boat with the less experienced guide out front. Like clearly not a good option. Yeah.
I mean, clearly Greg took control. He's probably the stronger boater. He has a better boat for it. He knows the river. This was a decision here. But I think there's different ways to handle this based on the experience levels in the boats and what's going on.
Cool.
Cool. Well, thanks everybody for following. Yeah, thanks for following along, everyone. Hopefully you made it all the way. We're probably at like minute 20 on this video, but it's been a fun conversation, Aaron, talking about this stuff.
Yeah, definitely.